Australia is full of tall poppy syndrome. And so just recently you were in the news and I'm going to bring this up and we'll put this up on the screen as well. But it's a beautiful photo of her and her daughter. And it says, Aussie mum quits job, now pulling in $70,000 a month. What I think is hilarious about this, first of all, congratulations. Fucking love it. And for all of us that are in your community or everyone that's in your world, and probably thousands of women out there as well, is just cheering you on going, holy shit, that's incredible. I loved this article. There was parts of it that for me, I was like, people are they're seeing the title. Yeah. And I'm going to say this out loud. Men are fucking triggered. Like the
so
comment section.
They were so triggered. Section,
I'm just sitting here going, what do you mean? Like, how are you this triggered and how are you even saying this? And then there's things like, I'm going to read a couple of the comments that have come out. So is she a coach that coaches other coaches, first of all? I was positive it was going to be something related to NDIS. I bet the tax man doesn't see that. And then these other ones are like, wow, I would have read it was a real estate agent, but clearly she's OnlyFans. I'm loving that all of these people are going on here. There's way worse ones of this. And one thing I want to say about Australia is full of tall poppy syndrome. Welcome to Spill the Tea with Kirsty and Bo, and today it is just me with my beautiful friend. I'm joined with the incredible Sasha Eburne, a powerhouse woman, devoted mum to a beautiful daughter, and the proud founder of the CEO Collective. Sasha built her company from the ground up as a single mum, and today she's consistently generating $70K months. But this conversation isn't just around money, it's around resilience, identity, courage, and what it took to be the version of her today and what it really takes to rebuild your life and rise up. Sasha, welcome to the show, and I'm excited to have you here, babe.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So good. So, who is Sasha? Tell me a little bit about you. Let's just dive in. Like, who is Sasha? Where did you come from? Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure, we can go right back to the beginning if we want. I was born in Sydney and grew up sort of on the central coast of New South Wales, and then when we were about 15 moved to the Gold Coast, and that is kind of really where things started for me. I always wanted to move out of home. I always didn't like to listen to being told what to do. So when I was, let's say I was in my 11th year of high school, didn't know what I wanted to do. And, back then, I don't know what it's like now, you can't change your subjects too many times. And I'm like, well, what's 17-year-olds supposed to know what they want to do with their life? And they just said, you can't change your subjects, like you're locked in. So, after a long conversation with my mum, we identified that, I might go and learn how to work in hospitality. She told me about one of her cousins that worked in hotels in London. And I was just like, sounds pretty cool to me. So I actually left halfway through year 11. So you call me a high school dropout. And I went and studied.
We love those ones. We love those. We love the high school dropouts. We're the most successful ones.
And you know what? It was so much more me. It was so much more mature, driving to TAFE on my own. And it was just very much going to TAFE with older people. And I loved it. I loved everything I did. It was so hands-on. It was so practical. So I did a certificate 3, and then that gave me all of the, they call it like recognized for prior learnings to go into 2 diplomas. So by the time everybody else was finishing year 12, I already had 2 diplomas. So one in events management and one in hospitality management. Then my next goal was, let's leave home. Let's get out of here. My parents were going to start charging me board. And I was just like, what's this? So I was just like, well, I'm out. Let's go. So before I turned 18, I had my first full-time job in a hotel, and it was a rainforest resort in the Gold Coast hinterland. And that's pretty much where my 25 career in hotels and hospitality started. So I loved it so much. I loved the vibe of living on site in resorts. I spent some time in the Middle East, in Abu Dhabi, spent some time in Vanuatu, all in luxury hotels. And that really kind of set the footing for a long career. I worked all down the Australian eastern side. I did Queensland, Sydney, Melbourne, spent some time in the Whitsundays as well. And then COVID happened. And we were the first hotel that entered the quarantine program. And I was a sales director in that hotel, and they were just like, we have no work for you. We are turning this hotel into the quarantine. And I'd actually only just gone back from maternity leave as well. So I'd gone back for 3 months, and they're like, back home you go. And I'm like, okay. And we all thought it was going to be very short-lived, right? We all thought it would just be a month or 2 months, and no, years just turned into weeks. And it was by chance that, being a solo mom, I was like, well, how do I make sure that I keep income going over this time? And I joined a direct marketing company, which is the Body Shop at Home, which we all know the Body Shop being here in Australia. And I was doing online facial parties because I'm like, everyone's at home, get your wine together. And I was selling the face masks. And then one ex-colleague, she bought some. So I went and met her. We had a coffee, and we couldn't sit in the coffee shop at the time. It was still during those COVID times where you had to get your takeaway coffee. And I said, what are you doing now? And she goes, I'm a virtual assistant. I'm like, what is a virtual assistant? And her story was not so similar, but she'd been made redundant twice in 2 years, had come from that industry as well. And she told me about it. And she said to me, I make more in 3 days of working as a virtual assistant than I did in my 5-day hotel job. And I'd always been that serial entrepreneur. I'd tried everything. I tried a wedding company. I tried, other MLMs like Arbonne, Isogenics. I'd tried all of them. I'd always craved that remote living, life on your own terms. I hated being told no by employees, like you can't take holidays. So I was so interested, and I sat on the sidelines for 6 months. I just watched, and she added me to some Facebook groups, and I'm just like, I'm just going to see. In hindsight, I should have jumped.
Yes. We know that now that we're coaches and we teach this. You're like, just do the damn thing. Just go and try it out. And if it doesn't work, go somewhere else,
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? After we all got stood down, it was kind of a year of in and out of different roles and things like that. And I was just like, oh, maybe I should go try a different industry. So I went and tried real estate for 4 months. Realized that wasn't for me, wasn't my people. And then just 1 week, I found 10 leads in Facebook groups. And I'm like, oh, maybe there's something in this. So I overnight set up my website. I learned to write websites when I was like 7 or something. My dad's a software consultant. And then within 24 hours, I had my first client. And that's kind of where it all started, May 2021. So really not that long ago.
Wow, what an incredible story. And the fact that COVID was one of those things, it either was one of the best things that ever happened to people, or it was one of the worst times of their life. And there's a lot of trauma around COVID. For us personally, COVID was one of the best things that ever happened to us.
Yeah.
I remember when COVID happened, I was so excited. I had a 10-year oil and gas offshore role. My partner was FIFO as well, and everyone was losing their jobs. And I was just like, fuck yes, I'm going to lose my job. And it was almost like, when I look back now, I had wanted to quit offshore for so long, but I just couldn't. The money was too good. And I told myself all these things, and I'd never get the amount of money they got in that. And so COVID happened. I was like, yes, I'm going to go into debt with the rest of the world. I don't even care anymore. I'm going to live at home. I'm going to be with my kids. I'd already started hey, I'm going to do online personal training because I'm an ex-personal trainer. I'm going to be able to train my kids up and do they're going to do business studies and stuff like that. They're not doing traditional school anymore. And then I got whipped away, and I had to do 6 weeks offshore. And it was such a crazy time. But for us, it actually was an incredible time because me and my partner, Bo, we spent all our money on entertaining. So, and now you see the cycles of work. Make the money, spend the money, have to make the money, and the cycles. And so when COVID happened, all of a sudden our bank account started getting bigger because we couldn't go out to spend the money. But we started having meals at home. We started doing, watching movies together and playing games. We were doing family stuff, and it brought us back closer. And that was when the spark of all our businesses started from there. So it's so interesting that something like that could have been an absolute negative thing for you. How many years were you in corporate for? How many years were you in hospitality?
25.
25 years. So that could have been a whole, and let's just not forget to mention that you just had a baby. You're a single mom. All of this stuff is happening. All of that is going on. And then 25-year career of everything gone. And I think that this is what people really have to understand. Working for someone else, you can just be gone. You can be disappeared. 25-year career, and then all of a sudden you don't matter. And then for you to find yourself in that moment. But I truly believe that all of these things in 25 years is building you for this moment that
For
you're
sure.
in now. You know, like all of
Absolutely.
those failed attempted businesses, all of those things that you learned. And I always say to people that anything that you ever done in life, whether you're investing in yourself, whether you try a different business, whether you go into something that, you know, a different group or something like that, and you may not get what you think you're going there to get, but you're pulling. You're pulling skills from, you're pulling communication, you're pulling like, oh, I don't like that. I like this, you know, I wouldn't do that. I would do this. So you're pulling all this. So when it came to this part of birthing something very new, all of those parts of you were coming to play.
Absolutely.
They were coming to the party, you know? And that's the beautiful thing here. So, all right, so you got your first client after 24 hours of launching your business, and then what happened?
Then I had that one client. It was a 12-hour-a-week client. I did that client for a week. And during that time, all of these other opportunities started coming. So I kept on having to go for doctor's appointments or more toilet breaks or finding somewhere in that corporate building to do my Zoom calls with clients. And whilst nothing had landed, it really showed me that there was all these people that needed help. So I decided to go all in, and it was scary AF because I had a mortgage. Brooklyn was probably about 1.5, 2 years old. And I was just like, what if it didn't work? However, it was because I saw all of the potential conversations, because I was like, okay, well, I've got 12 hours now. What could I do with, you know, between 12 and 38 if I just talked to more people? And I didn't know anything about sales other than my corporate hospitality sales, which I've had to unlearn everything. I didn't know anything about marketing. I'd never run a successful business before, but I was just like, do you know what? I don't like my job. I hated it. They had me doing the same task all day, every day for 5 days in a row. It's enough to send anybody crazy. So it was just like, something's got to be better than this. And I was just like, well, if it doesn't work, I'll just go get another job. That's kind of where my mindset came. And I went in and resigned. And it was quite ironic the way that it happened, because she went out and told everybody, she goes, oh, Sasha's going to go try her luck working from home. And I distinctly remember those are her exact words.
How
and it
condescending.
was so belittling. And I'm just like, oh, look at me now. Yeah, and I was just like, do you know what?
Now we're in newspapers. Like, look at me now. How's your corporate role going, buddy?
I was just like, do you know what? That's probably also like, because I hear that ringing in my head, so much more motivation to be like, you know what? I can do this. And this is a career and this is a job. And then things just started flowing. I got a recommendation from somebody else. I spoke to my friend who I knew she ran her own business, but I didn't know it was a virtual assistant business. She goes, you know, I'm hiring. And that's what I do. And I'm like, no. So literally within 24 hours of resigning, I'd gotten a role working for her. Then it was probably another 24 hours later, I got a referral from another wedding business that I used to contract to. And then within 3 weeks, I was fully booked at 38 hours.
Wow. I think for anyone listening right now, this is what I will say 1,000 times over. You do not need to know the how. You just need to know that you don't want to be in that same situation again and again and again. And you have to make a choice. You have to do something that's super hard. It feels super scary that you're taking that blanket off you, that comfort blanket off you, to see what is on the other side. And the moment Sasha closed that door and said, I'm not coming back, and she had her condescending boss go try your little stay-at-home thing, she exploded. Because when we close a door, 1,000 doors, windows, and buildings open for us. And this is the biggest lesson here for everyone listening, that she was no different. She had a mortgage. She was a single mom. She had the safety of, career. She had that salary coming in, but she was unhappy. She was bored as fuck. She didn't want that. She wanted a different life. And then she went out and did it, and did what most people, 99% of people, won't do, but say they want to do. So congratulations for having that strength. And this is why this is so important to talk about the woman behind the business, because it's very easy to talk about the news article that we're going to go to soon, but everyone wants to look at that, but no one wants to look at all the things she had to come through. And I'm going to go all the way back a little bit, because Sasha is someone that she's a bit of like a Kinder Surprise. You never quite know what you're going to get. And as you go through like more toys and stuff, there's more layers and parts to her. Sasha is such an incredible human, such an incredible leader in her own self-led, I'd say, self-mastery, that she decided to even go out and have her own baby. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because I'll never forget the day that I sat down with you in Bali. So me and Sasha actually met through a coaching container that we're both invested into this other coach. And we were sitting there and she's like, hey, I'm in Bali. Let's like catch up before we go to the event. And I was like, okay, cool. We sat down. And then I could not stop listening to you. And I was like, okay, so, where's the dad and something? She's like, she's all mine. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And so let's unpack that a little bit because it is an incredible story. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I kind of always had I don't know where it came from, but I'd always, I'd had relationships and things like that through my 20s. And there was always something just not about right. And there was always that burning desire to be a mum. And I'd kind of always said, by the time I'm 30, if I haven't met Mr. Right, Mr. Prince Charming, I'm going to have a baby on my own. Did I think that I would ever get there? No. Was I, still dating, still putting myself out there? Yes. However, now knowing what I know now, there just wasn't the click, there wasn't the vibe. And I'm such a, go-getter and I'm, a high achiever in terms of I want more in life that sometimes people just think kind of, didn't have any drive or ambition. So I got to 30 and I still didn't do anything. I still didn't take action. And then it was about 31. I was dating a guy for about 6 months. And then it slowly came out that he didn't want to have any more children because he already had 2. I'm like, oh, okay. Lesson learned. Ask the question earlier because this is really important for me. So I was, okay, well, now I'm going to have to go start again because that was a deal breaker. I'm not going to commit my life to somebody that doesn't want to have any more kids. And then I went down the path just to find out what the situation was. And I thought that I would go in and find out, it's fine, you're young, you've got plenty of time. And it wasn't the story. So I'm sitting there in the fertility clinic. I'd had all the tests done. And it was like a ringing in my ears. And he says, you might never be able to conceive. And I was just like, what? I'm like, I'm only like 31. And I went home, called my mom, bawled my eyes out. And then I was just like, well there's got to be a way, right? So there was potential diagnosis of endometriosis. And he said, we have to formally diagnose that before we do anything. I could sit here and just take your money for all this, IVF and different things, but we really need to identify what's happening. So we did that. I was formally diagnosed with endometriosis, also found out that I had blocked tubes. So artificial insemination, not an issue, or IUI as they call it. And they're like, we need to do IVF. That's the only way that you're going to physically be able to get pregnant. And we should start now. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this. I guess it's now because he's just like, you've got low egg count. The older you get, the harder it will be. And so then I just started doing IVF and I was just like, okay, this is it. And I got pregnant first go.
No way. Wow. So first go, just like, that's it. Hello. And how are you feeling? Because this has happened yes, it's been in the back of your mind. Cool. This is what I'm going to do when I hit around 30. Yeah. But then you go there, then you get this shocking news hey, you may never actually have a baby. Then it's did the test and did the things diagnosed it, fell pregnant straight away. What was the moment fuck yes, this is amazing, or holy shit, this is happening? Where are we going?
It was the latter. But I think I went into the situation so naive. Because it happened so fast, I didn't have time to do the research. I'm listening to the doctors and the nurses, had no idea. And even halfway through, my body hadn't taken to a lot of the drugs. So they're just oh, it's really low. We could cancel, you'd lose $800 and you'd start again, or we keep on going. And I was just so naive. I was just but it only takes one, right? I'm so far invested. And thank God I did, because they're yeah, it only takes one. And if I hadn't, who knows where we'd be. But I was just I don't want to start again. I'm already, in my mind, I'm already all in. Let's just go. We're going to try because we just don't know.
Yeah.
And thank God.
That's what a story. That is just one of those miracle stories of literally, and also having that superpower of being naive. of not doing the research. Because how many people do when we start doing the research and you go down the rabbit hole and then all of a sudden you have this big, great idea. It might be a business or it might be to go do cosmetic surgery or it might be something, right? But then you go down this rabbit hole and then you talk yourself out of it because you've done so much research. But some of the best things that we've ever done is when we're naive. Like if I had known how hard it was to start Believe the Label or clothing label, I never would have done that. I was so naive, learned so many horrific mistakes along the way. Thank God I'm a coach and I can teach people that they don't have to do those mistakes anymore. But it was my naivety. It was your naivety. The reason why you've got a beautiful baby is also why we have beautiful businesses, because of we're just like, fuck it, let's see what happens.
Just do it anyway.
Just do it anyway. Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to, obviously, like, you know, you don't have a partner. So how do you pick a donor? Like, do you have a book? Like, do you have a profile? Like
so
this one looks great. Like,
this is the most commonly asked question. So I thought that there was going to be an endless supply. I was going to invite all my girlfriends over. We were going to have a donor party, and it's all online. So it's not in a book, and there's not that many. So I had a choice between the American donor program and the Australian donor program. And the American donor program, because they get paid to donate in America, there's obviously, you know, multiple thousands of different options. However, because of the export fees from the US, it is also triple the price. In Australia, people do it out of the goodness of their heart, but there's also less of them. However, in my mind, I was just like, well, this is going to be an expensive exercise. I also didn't have a lot of money in my 30s. I lived week by week. And I was just like, well, if it's going to take me a long time to get pregnant, then I might as well just pick an Australian donor, as long as there is one that kind of fits the bill. And so, no, there wasn't enough to have a party. And then they're only allowed to give baby photos, and not all of them had baby photos. But my process of elimination was purely health. Health was number one for me. It wasn't about race. It wasn't about nationality. It was purely health. And I was kind of quite open to different nationalities as well. Like I've traveled the world quite a bit. So, you know, I'd always been attracted to different cultures and things like that. So it wasn't that they had to be white, they had to be Caucasian, they had to be Australian. That never came into the awareness. Health has always been number one.
Beautiful. I love that. And for anyone listening to this, any man is listening to this, please donate. Donate. Go and jerk off in the cup and donate. So beautiful people like Sasha can have a baby and put a baby photo up, please, just so we can just have a little look.
You're hilarious.
But what an incredible story. Like, I'll never forget. I literally can still see myself in that cafe going, what do you mean? Please continue talking. And I remember going home and being like, bro, like I thought this chick was cool before, but she literally just had made a baby by herself and got a donor and like just did the damn thing. And I was like, she just took leadership to a whole nother level. She just took, I don't need no man to a whole nother level, like literally. And I thought that was just such an incredible thing. And I said then, I was like, you need to tell this story. Like more people need to understand this and know this, because I think honestly, if I was in your position, I don't even know if that, in my mind, if that would be an option. Like, I don't know if I'd even think of that being an option, you know? Yeah. So for you to have had that in the bank to think about, hey, if I don't get a partner, and this is why I think that was always in the cards. And I think there's so much more that you're going to unpack with that and help other women on that side of things. And I think it's amazing for one single mom, did it on her own and built, you know, $1 million company. Like, it's just like absolutely incredible from the ground up, you know, and with a mortgage, with the car, with all the expenses, all the excuses that we all like to live, you know. But what an incredible human. Like, you should be just so proud of yourself, just on the fact that should tell you alone that you can literally do anything you want in life. Literally.
100%. You're totally and utterly in control.
It's one thing to have a business or even the best product or service. But let's be real. When no-face Jackie32 jumps on Instagram throwing those nasty comments and you make it mean something about you, it doesn't matter how good your business is, you will crumble. That's why you need us.
Welcome to We Breathe Success, the ultimate experience for aspiring business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches who are ready to break through to the next level.
Hi, I'm Kirsty Waddingham.
And I'm Bo Drury.
We're not just any mindset business mentorship. We are the world's best when it comes to mindset, breakthrough, and transformation.
Our approach combines breakthrough breathwork, powerful mindset techniques, manifestation, and strategic business coaching, setting you up for each week for success and action.
If you're truly serious about unlocking explosive growth, you're in the right place.
Success starts with one essential foundation, your mindset. Without it, even the best business strategies will fall apart.
That's why we go deeper than traditional coaching. We offer advanced biohacking and mindset reprogramming.
Your network is your net worth, and now you have access to ours. With all of this, success isn't just a possibility, it's your only option.
We're here to help you break through your old limits, step into extraordinary success, and create unstoppable momentum for growth. We cover it all: mindset, somatic strategy, community, and connection.
So are you ready to be the leader, visionary, and powerhouse that you were meant to be? Click the link below. Let's book a call.
Yeah. I cannot express that enough, especially for everyone listening. Like, you have the full control. Whatever you want in life, you can have. And it's not like Sasha won't sit here and be like, oh, my life was beautiful and easy and it was rosy and, and then I went and peaked and everything was amazing and I didn't have morning sickness and all this kind of stuff. Like, that's not how it works. No. All it is saying is that you can have anything you want. There is going to be challenges along the way. And I think a lot of people think when you get to a certain stage, like, you're not going to have problems and I shouldn't have this anymore and I shouldn't be dealing with this anymore. But the thing is, the more you grow and expand, the more problems and challenges you have. They're just different. They're just on different levels. Like, things that some of my friends would complain about, I'm like, what the fuck are you complaining about that for? Because my problems are like all the way up here. Way bigger. Way bigger, like having to pay staff and clients and $1,000,000 people and stuff like that. But also their pain is real to them, but they just haven't hit another level of success or another level in their life. So they're still playing on this field. I think once you realize that everything's just white noise, and once you can shut it out, take deep breaths in and out, and then just be like, does it really fucking matter? No. Does it really matter? And so you can get to the next level. So I just think that's amazing. So one thing I want to ask, so how did you get into the line of work you're in now in the CEO Collective? Because there's obviously been steps. Like, you didn't just go straight into the CEO Collective. How did you get from going, okay, cool, I'm starting a landing page, I got my first client, I'm getting some opportunities now. Like, how did you grow this into what it is now, the CEO Collective?
Yeah, so it was about 4 months in. I was just like, I feel like everybody should have the opportunity to work like I do, because this is pretty damn cool. So I started showing other women how to start their business. And this was before I knew what a business coach was. I didn't know what a business coach was. I'm just like, I'm just going to start teaching people. So I started teaching people that whilst I was building my virtual assistant business. And then I got to a bit and I was just like, well, I'm kind of capped. I'm capped at my time capacity and things like that. So I started looking into, how do I actually grow this? How do I get more people? How can I duplicate me? So within the first 6 months, I grew the virtual assistant business to 15 team members around the country.
Wow,
we
15
built that
team members.
Yeah, it was 15 team members. So it just grew so fast. I just got really good at having conversations. And we built that to multi-six figures in under 2 years. And then it was literally just a side thing, just teaching women how to do it. I wasn't charging that much. And I was just like, oh, I love this. I love helping people. And then I hit a ceiling. We were kind of making about 8 to 10K per month. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, but I don't know what to do next. Like, I don't know how to run a business, really. I was just making it up as I went. So I went and invested in my first coach, and I thought it was business coaching, and it was NLP.
Oh, love this story.
Totally changed my life. And I learned about how to be a really great coach, how to help people get rid of limiting beliefs, how that they can hold themselves to a higher standard, how to get rid of some stored trauma. And then it was in between that coaching and then when I upgraded to become a master practitioner in NLP that I dived into the program that we were in, where I was just like, okay, I really actually want to be a coach. This is so great. I can help people. I can make an impact. So how do I build a business around this? Because I had no idea. I'd never been a coach. When I was doing virtual assistant work, I really just was doing what I was doing in my 9 to 5 and just helping people remotely. So I'd kind of already knew how to do it. But in terms of how to actually, work with more people, go from one-to-one to group, I had no idea. So that's when I invested in a coach to show me how to actually run group programs. And then that's where the CEO Collective was born. eventually. It started off with lots of different programs. I started teaching people how to start a business, but it was a one-to-many approach, and it was literally just getting started. And I used to do this at 8:00 at night because I had a belief that people could only get coached at nighttime if they're in their 9 to 5. And then my daughter Brooklyn started having night terrors, and she was like, I'd literally had to leave the coaching call because she was screaming. And sometimes she'd be behind me on the couch, and I was just like, okay, something's got to change. And then someone's just like, just coach them during the day. And I was like, well, okay, let's just coach during the day. And then I found as I leveled up in business that I didn't want to teach the beginner stuff anymore, because I'm like, I've done that. I've helped people. How can I help them without helping them on a day-to-day basis? And how can I teach scaling? Because that's what I've done. That's what I love. And I love that high level strategy. So I firstly built the VA Way Academy, which was 6 months. And then I realized that to scale a business is actually a lot longer, and they need a lot more time, and people also need to change throughout that journey as well. So then that's when the CEO Collective was born, that we moved that program into a 12-monthly and pretty much put everything that I offer into one program and support women to scale their businesses.
Love that. And what a journey that is, and I think this is what people don't understand. Like, when you first start, you're just seeing what sticks. You're just seeing what works. And also, business will expose every part of you. It exposes every shadow. It exposes every fear. And going back to the whole NLP, I truly believe that every single person should just do NLP. I think even if you have a business, if you don't have a business, how you work, the way you communicate, your language is such a powerful tool. It is the biggest tool in order to be able to get people to sidestep their bullshit and get out of their environment and see things a different way. I've always had a very unique way about me. Even when I was in DV, when I came out of that, I was like, I had the understanding, knowing that my life was going to get better. One day I'd be able to tell my story. Right now it sucks. And I knew nothing about NLP. I just had the wisdom inside of me to know that this will one day make sense, and it doesn't make sense now. And I'm a 19-year-old girl, and I've done NLP twice now, done two times I've gone through. I'm actually going to go through another time this year, just because I love it so much, and I think a refresher is fantastic. So anyone on here that's listening to this that wants to do NLP or hypnotherapy, come message me. I've got really good facilitators that I just swear to God, they are just fantastic. This is actually their last year. They're going to put things on pause for a little bit. They're going to go do some other things, but they've been doing it for 20 years or something. And I remember when I did NLP with them and hypnotherapy, and I went there to be a better coach and a better facilitator, and I was in a freaking fetal position, dealing with stuff that I thought I had 100% dealt with, or things that I'd never even known about, things were coming up. And I think that is the power of NLP, and NLP should be in any person that is teaching. So what an incredible journey to go from where you were in corporate, going through hospitality, going into Arborn and doing all those things as well. I think that anyone that's usually an entrepreneurial business owner has tried some kind of MLM, multi-level marketing thing. I did Empire Network. That was my thing. And then that got me a connection to something else. Did I make a lot of money in there? I didn't make any. I probably lost $5,000 or something, but I did make an amazing connection, which got me into offshore. And then that also has been part of my our DNA to be where we are today. And I think, it's so important for people to understand that everything in your life is a stepping stone. Everything good, everything bad, all of the perceived failed things at the time are not failed. They're just learnings, and cool, I probably should have done that differently. We're naive. Anyone that goes to school to go and learn business studies they're not an entrepreneur. The entrepreneurs are in the grit, and me and Bo talk about this all the time. He's not an entrepreneur. He is a worker. He is a person that needs to be told what to do. I'm consistently, all I think about is all the other businesses. My mind is exploding. Your mind is exploding 24/7. How can you have more impact? How could you do this? How could I do that better? I would love just to be able to tune off, but then would I really know? Because that would be boring in my brain. For anyone else, it would be chaotic. There's organized mess up there. So with all of those learnings and all of that kind of stuff as well, what do you think was one of the biggest challenges when you went into, obviously went in seat and got a business coach, so you went into that business coach container. what was one of the biggest challenges in that moment, going from all the things that you kind of were doing and also your identity growing? So you pretty much outgrew your own clients. And I see this a lot. We've experienced it myself. So what was the biggest challenge going from that to then going, hey, I want to be now working with these people in the CEO collective and that's what I want? What was probably one of the biggest challenges or stepping stones to that move?
Yeah, there's probably a few things. I mean, team's always been a challenge. And I've done a lot of work over the last 6 months to really be clear on what I want and what my expectations are and not allow boundaries to be leaked in terms of that, and really to kind of hold the team to a higher standard. I think I was kind of quite elusive in the past. I was like, oh, they're kind of serving the purpose. And then they just weren't. And I'm like, for us to level up as a company and actually seeing it as a company, it's very different to, having mediocre. So this year we've gone through a big shed, let's say, and a big change of the way that we run the company, which has really kind of supported the growth and allowed me to actually do what I want to do. And then I think the other biggest thing is the noise. The noise and learning how to regulate myself through that. That's been the biggest thing. Once you reach a certain level, there are going to be haters. There are going to be people that have different opinions or people that expect fast results within only a couple of months. And whilst, all my marketing is very clear around, all the results vary, it's going to come down to the individual person and how motivated they are to jump in and do things. So yes, I had the success very quickly, and we talked about things that come up, and we talked about, what I did differently and why I got fully booked really quickly. And, what I've learned over time is people need to be in control of their own actions and take responsibility for their own growth. And that's the biggest thing. So yes, we invest in coaches. However, it is up to us to do the work. So every single coach that I've ever worked with, I've always gotten out of it, even if it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, I got something out of it that made the investment worthwhile. And
I could not agree with that more. Yeah, I totally agree. And this is a huge thing in the industry, that people think that I got this coach, I'm going to make X, Y, and Z, and you got to put the effort in. You can have, and this is why I always say it, this is why we're you first, business second, because we could give you all the strategy, the systems, the marketing, everything's sitting there, right there in the portal for you to go plug and play straight into your thing, into your own business. You can come onto the coaching calls, and if you do not go away and implement what I said, you are not going to get anywhere. For me, coaching you was one of the best things because you're coachable. You literally will come to me, ask me a
everything
question.
You tell me to do.
Yeah, you literally and it is done that day. Hey, babe, can you check this? It is done. That is an action. I had someone just recently come into We Breed Success who we were both in the same coaching container a couple of years ago. And she said to me, I joined you because I watched your success happen so fast. And she's in my program, and she sent me a private message a couple months ago, and she goes, I just want to ask you something. And I said, yep. And she goes, I literally came to you because I watched your success explode. I watched everything that you did, and then all of a sudden you just were taking over everything. And she goes, what did you do? And I said, I did exactly what my coach told me to do.
Yep.
I literally got off that call. I didn't sit there and eat my lunch or have a coffee or whatever. I implemented exactly what she told me, and that's why I got the results. And I always say, it's not fucking rocket science. Everybody can have the success, but not many people actually want to put in the work that's required to be the level of us and be the versions of us that we want to be. It takes work. And I don't mean just physical in the trenches work. It could be team stuff. Team is hard, and I totally agree with that. That is probably one of my biggest challenges, is that having the right team, having A players to take you to the next level, that's one thing. But your mindset, your nervous system, your life things that are going on as well is going to be a massive impact on how you show up in your business, how you show up with your team, how you show up in your company. And so spending a lot of time on yourself, working on yourself, is absolute strategy. It is paramount to your success. Otherwise you will burn out, be overwhelmed, anxious, want to burn down the business every fucking 3 months,
Yeah, and I can honestly say I can see people that have come and gone, and they're like, oh, it didn't work. I see them and I see the way that they're showing up, and I'm like, you haven't watched the frameworks, you haven't implemented anything that I've seen, and you go away and months later and you worry why you're not making the money that you desire. You're worried that you're like, it didn't work. It's not working because you didn't work. And I can literally spot how they're showing up online and why clients aren't coming to them, whether it's in their copy, whether it's in the way that they're responding to leads, because they haven't implemented any of the strategy, which to me means that they haven't actually done the work to get the results that they desire. They're just floating through, or they've reverted back to their old operating system.
They're just hoping. They're hoping it's all going to work out without putting in the... Hope is not a strategy. Hoping it's going to work out, hoping that this time, this will be the big break, and thinking that someone's going to come and save you. Like, I cannot say this enough. Yeah. Nobody is coming to fucking save you guys. Nobody. You can put yourself in the right rooms, with the right facilitators and with the best human beings. But if you do not come to the party and take ownership of your own life, you're going to have the same result again and again and again. And that is no one's fault but your own. And so, I come across as a very harsh coach now because I'm like, I want you to win. Yeah. I fucking know you can win. I see all the potential in you. Stop playing small. Stop with your bullshit excuses and stop blaming the world. Because blaming is a low frequency. And you're going to continue to have low frequency shit if you do not raise your frequency and realize that every single person that's crossed your path has added value to you. Every single person that you have coached, they cannot say, I got 0 from Sasha. They got something. Whether it be, hey, look, I realize that in my coaching container, I don't want to coach like that. That's not my style. Whether it be that. I had a friend that went to it was a public speaking leadership course, and it cost her $3,000 for this one day. And she came back and she goes, it was fucking bullshit, blah, blah. And I said, it wasn't. You learned something. What did you learn? And she goes, well, I don't know. I said, you did? Think about it. What did you learn? And she goes, that I actually think I'm a pretty good leader, actually. Like, I would have done that during this, and this. And she gave me a couple of things. I said, so unfortunately, you had to pay $3,000 to realize your own self-worth. That's what that got you. And she was like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it now. And that's what I mean. Every single thing that you do adds value to your life. Now, you've had roller coasters up and down. You've had great months. You've had holy shit months. And then we've got a level now where we've got consistency. And so just recently you were in the news and I'm going to bring this up and we'll put this up on the screen as well. But it's a beautiful photo of her and her daughter. And it says, Aussie mum quits job, now pulling in $70,000 months. What I think is hilarious about this, first of all, congratulations. Fucking love it. And for all of us that are in your community or everyone that's in your world, and probably thousands of women out there as well, is just cheering you on going, holy shit, that's incredible. I loved this article. There was parts of it that for me, I was like, people are they're seeing the title.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this out loud. Men are fucking triggered. Like the comment section.
They were so triggered.
Section, I'm just sitting here going, what do you mean? Like, how are you this triggered and how are you even saying this? And there's things like, I'm going to read a couple of the comments that have come out. So is she a coach that coaches other coaches, first of all? I was positive it was going to be something related to NDIS. I bet the tax man doesn't see that. And then these other ones are like, wow, I would have read it was a real estate agent, but clearly she's OnlyFans. Now, I'm loving that all of these people are going on here, like, and there's way worse ones of this. And one thing I want to say about Australia is full of tall poppy syndrome. Holy shitballs. Like, I've been all over the world now. America is fantastic.
Oh, they would be rooting for me, all of them.
Absolutely rooting for you. Like, yeah, girl, you've got this, blah, blah. And like, we think that Americans are this other way. When I went over there, it was I love America. Okay, I 100%, it's my favorite place in the world, along with Dubai. I love it. And what I just thought was crazy is that the amount of men that were tearing you down in here, the amount of men that don't know who you are, and I'm saying men because this is literally 95% of comments in here were men being triggered that this woman, for one, single mum, has her own house, car, making 70K months. They couldn't come close to it, so it makes them feel inferior. Like, it makes them feel like not good enough, inadequate. And I remember a few years ago, Harvey's nearly 5 now, and I just had Bo. I just had Bo.
Yeah.
I just had Harvey, and I was sitting there and I was having this massive meltdown, and I said to Bo, oh my God, I fucking get it now. Because I used to go around saying like, men haven't changed, or men are this, and men can't handle like, life now, and they can't come to the party and all this kind of stuff. But I realized that actually men never changed. Women changed. Men stayed the same. Men were the provider. They were the one that went to work, made the money, came home, and they were rewarded for the financial side of things, right? But now women have shown that they can do it all. And I'm gonna touch on this because no, I don't think women should do it all. But women have shown that we can now raise a family, have a mortgage, earn 70K, 100K, 200K months, and have a great life and not need a man. You literally fucking had a baby without needing a physical man in your life. You have your own house. You make your own money. You are basically, we're getting to a place where women have stepped up so much that men definitely need to come to the party. And so when a woman's success, and I don't care if it was OnlyFans, good fucking on her. Like, if I could do OnlyFans and not have my 21-year-old son hate me, I'm fucking there, man. Like, like, I wish that I would have that. Like if I was pulling in those, like some people pulling in like $1 million months and shit, babe, I'm there. I don't care about the body anymore. I'm too old to be like, oh, I'm all prim and proper. No, I'm not. I'll take the OnlyFans. But my thing is this, is that was an incredible story. And yes, you had lots of love, but how do you feel when you were going through that? When you were reading the comments, was there any element of you that it hurt? Was there a moment of like took your breath away, or were you just like, you guys are just nothing, blah blah? Like, what were you thinking behind it?
So my first train of thought was, no, I'm not going to give it any energy. So I can't remember which entrepreneur. It might have been Maria Wendt when she talked about like the haters or the people selling to you or anything, is actually just suffocate them. And by suffocating, you're not giving them any energy. So it's kind of like you put the pillow over them. And I was just like, well, why would I give this any energy when I have so many amazing people reaching out to me that I can go give love and impact to? And also, I am so regulated in who I am and what I do and what I'm here to do that it actually didn't faze me. And the lesson there for me was, damn, what a journey have I come on to be like, I don't even care what the comments say, because there's no level of logic to any of them. So I read 3 and I was just like, I'm tapping out. And the amount of people that started screenshotting them and sending to me, I'm like, I actually don't care, because I'm like, this article means so much more to me because of the journey that I've been on and how regulated I am, to be like, this doesn't faze me one bit. I was always told by one of my mentors is new level, new devil. And people that hate you, they're actually confused followers. The other thing that came out of that was, amazing women wanting to change and wanting to work with me. And though there was so many women that just dropped into my DMs to be like, just inspired me to find a better life for myself. And I was just like, my job is done. Who cares about the comments? Because the impact is there, and women are looking for something more. They're not going to settle.
Yes.
They're not going to settle. And it was proven that they didn't even read the article.
Yeah.
It was just like, the comments meant nothing. You didn't read the article. You're assuming what I did because of your lack in life.
100%. And it's always projection. What we are spilling out to the world is always a projection of our own internal game. And also, I just want to like encourage you on those moments, like the absolute growth. Obviously, I've worked with you over that year as well. And the growth in you emotionally to be like, hey, I'm good. Like I always say, when you got media come out, expect to be hated. You're going to be hated for being the best person. You might have just done something amazing and someone's like picking on your nose or something. Like it's just like, oh my God, who do they think are, or, that, you're using the word celebrity loosely and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, you're sitting there on your mum's couch eating potato chips and hating life. Like, just chill out, brother. Like go and find we've got some really good men's coaches in there, container guys. Mick Bennett, jump out to Mick Bennett, hook up with him if you need some love. If you need to get in there, he's a great coach. I think you should go and see him, because end of the day, I always say this, no one wants to sit there being sad and miserable. Like surely you want to sit there and be like, life sucks. I don't like my mindset. What do I need to do to change this? Happy people don't go and rain on people's parade. They're lifting people out. They love it. I sit there and I'm just like, fuck yes. Like when I see that come out, I was like, go girlfriend. Like this is incredible. And growth is truly like doing the hard work so that those Jackie 39s come on and they say shit and it's not going to affect you anymore. I talk about that on stage all the time. When you have become so comfortable with who you are, so confident, so self-assured that nobody can rock you, you've won. That right there, you have won. Nobody can fuck with someone who is so emotionally strong, mentally strong, and their nervous system is solid. You can't mess with that. There can be all the noise around you. There can be all the chit chat. There could be the worst things going down. But if you're good in here, it doesn't matter. And how many times have things happened in your life, in your mind, that hasn't even happened the way you thought it was going? You're like, oh, it wasn't even as bad as I thought.
Oh, so many. So many.
We just create this story. The thing is, a feeling only lasts 90 seconds. It's the story you attach to that feeling that expands the time, and so you get to choose. You get to choose what way you want to go. I absolutely love that. And I've loved having this conversation with you today. Now, just a couple of things before we go, because I'm going to get you to leave some value to our readers and to our listeners and everyone that is tuning in for this. But when you first joined We Breathe Success, which was over a year ago now, when you came to that event, what was it like? Why did you end up joining We Breathe Success? What was the moment where you were just like, yeah? And what happened at that event for you in Gold Coast?
Yeah, so to be honest, breathwork was quite a new journey for me. We'd already had the rapport. We had become friends first, which I think is pretty cool. Most of the time these days, it's like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneurial person and then we're going to be friends. Whereas we became friends first. And so I knew the transformation was there, but I'm back then, I had to see things. And I think I didn't really understand the power of breathwork. And I had done one session of breakthrough breathwork, and that was a game changer for me. But I was just like, I want to see this on a bigger scale. So I went to this event, I brought my friend, and, whilst I had a lot of drop-ins, realizations, some weird stuff happened, how it is the love, the community, and the impact of that space was huge for me. Like the fact that there were people sharing that they've decided to live, I was just like, that's it for me. That was the impact. And I was just like, I want to learn to do what you want to learn. And also I need to tap into breathwork. So, out of that, I went and became a breathwork practitioner. I now certify others in breathwork as well. So it's just this full circle that I saw the amount of impact. And I was just like, yeah. 1, we got to work together. 2, I've got to tap into this modality. And there's so many people's lives that we can change doing the work that we're doing. So that's what it was for me. It was just really seeing it firsthand.
And what an incredible space that is. Like for us, we have people that come to our events and straight after they're like, I want to do what you're doing. Like this has changed my life. It's exactly how it happened for me. I had my first session. It changed my life. I got look up at Bora and I said, hey, you can never go back to work again. We need to tell the world about this. We need to help as many people as possible. And then for you to come into our space, experience exactly what the community is about. Like We Breathe Success is based, our top thing is community connection, network, and support. And then the second thing is nervous system regulation, mindset, and identity. And then it's business strategy. Like business strategy systems, all the foundations is stacked on those two things. And when people come into our community, they instantly feel together. They feel like, holy shit, like how do we have people from all over the world come into one facility and we all get along? How is this possible? Because at We Breathe Success, that's all we do. And then to see you and the growth that you had, and then you going into breathwork, and then you become certifying and helping people become certified in breathwork. Shout out to Sasha if you want to go get certified in breathwork, go check her out. She can help you do that. And then just to be helping you be part of that process of the CEO Collective, of bringing that all together, of elevating the identity of Sasha. Because when we first started, there was still the disconnect of where you wanted to go and where you knew you should be going. And then the trying to bridge the gap of those two identities, and this is why identity work is so important. And people think it's just some wishy-washy. It is not. Like when Sasha is operating at this level, but she knows she needs to operate at this level, there's things that have to change. You cannot do what you have done to get to the next level. You're going to have the same result over and over again. And your default settings are always going to cut you at the knees if you don't deal with that. So when Sasha started to break through all of her patterns and things like that were keeping her there, her business then exploded. She then went into now she facilitates other breathwork and help other people become certified in that because she understands the power of that. This is impact. This is what I've always said. I cannot save the whole world, but what I can do is build better, stronger, more confident leaders. So then they go and do their part. Then she inspires those people. They go and do their part. And then I'm part of the global solution. And this is what this is truly about. This is impact. This is We Breathe Success. This is what we do, why we have so much impact in here. Now, you have just had blown probably all of our minds out of the water of all the things that you have overcome, achieved, and done. Like, it was an incredible life. And I think sometimes when you're living it, you have to take a moment to be like, fuck, like I did this. Like when we go on podcasting, you rehashing, you're like, yeah, I did do that. Like it's crazy because when you're living your life, it's just your norm. It's your normal. So what do you think is one thing that you could leave the audience with today that could give them some value if they were in a position where they're feeling stuck in life, they may be still in their job or they're in a business, but they're just they're not happy in their business? What could be something that you could leave them with today that would just make them go, fuck yeah, this is it?
Is that you're actually totally in control of everything. So if you're not where you want to be, or if you're not happy where you want to be, is find a different way. So go and speak to people, that have done it, speak to people that are already on the journey that you want to go on, and just have a conversation. The people that, I know in the industry and things like that, they're more than happy to be like, let's just jump on and have a virtual coffee. Like, no sales. I just want to ask a question. Like when I started as a virtual assistant, do you know how many virtual coffees I had with other virtual assistants around the country? And now I'm friends with them 5 years later. Just make friends with people. But if you want something different, you're the only one that can change it. So just start asking the right questions and talking to the right people. That's all there is to it. But you're completely and utterly in control.
Absolutely. Amen. Love that. Well, thank you so much for today, beautiful. And thank you for everyone that is listening. If you guys want to reach out to Sasha, all of her Instagram will be in the details in the show notes as well. You can find her on Instagram, on Facebook, podcast. She's got it all. Reach out to her if you're thinking about maybe going to the VA side of things, or if you want to go and get qualified and being a breathwork facilitator. But thank you so much for being so open and honest. We Breathe Success. We love you. We love everything about you and everything that you've brought to the community, and all the things that you have done, just in your own life to be the true leader and the impact that you are today. And it takes people like you to do the thing first, to then allow people to know that they can also do it. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show. Big love, beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.